If you're specifically interested in the game that the thumbnail and title are referring to, that is the third game, so feel free to skip to that. But as always, I think all the games are pretty fun, so feel free to watch all of them. Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, and we're jumping right into things. In the last episode, we used a really fun team built around Solgaleo, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. And for the first game, we are up against Thundurus-T, Suicune, Amoonguss, Rillaboom, Heatran, Zacian. Okay. Thundurus-T is really interesting here. Mamoswine generally is amazing here. I mean, hits 5 of my opponent's 6 for super effective. We probably want to bring that. Honestly, Amoonguss is probably the most annoying Pokemon to deal with in this matchup. So that's the thing I'm primarily worried about. Honestly, something like Mamoswine and Mimikyu with Solgaleo and Stack Attack is pretty interesting to me here. Entei is like somewhat valuable for terrain control and super effective damage into Amoonguss, as well as Follow Me for the Zacian, but I don't know, I feel like I don't have enough damage otherwise. And then like Whimsicott, I'd actually consider bringing a best of 3 for Suicune. Suicune is kind of a pain, but if they lead Suicune, I think turn 1, I can pivot Mamoswine out into Solgaleo and just self-Shadow Sneak. So we'll see how things play out, but we're nearing the end of this ranked season, so thank you so much, as always, for watching. We tried out a lot of some of the more obscure restricted Pokemon in the last couple of weeks. I've had a lot of fun with that, so I hope you all have had fun enjoying, or have enjoyed watching it. And so yeah, if you do, please show support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day, I'm just curious how excited you are for the new games, as we got to see, you know, more of a sneak peek yesterday. So they're gonna go with Incineroar and Zacian. Okay. So my big question here is, does Zacian have Substitute? Is it Sub or Swords Dance? I kind of expect it to be, I kind of expect it to be Sub here. Mamo protecting is so obvious, but like I still want to go for it. One play they'd also have to respect is me switching into Entei and just high horsepowering on turn 1. I just want to burn this Zacian so badly. Honestly, I think I'm willing to high horsepower and Will-O-Wisp here. I guess the problem is if they just fake out Mamo and sub on turn 1. Oh, they switch out. Okay. Amoonguss? Okay. You know what? I'll gladly take that, honestly. What does Instinct go for? We miss Will-O-Wisp, but that's fine. It happens. Okay, pretty good damage from high horsepower. They're not Rocky Helmet. They're just going to Flare Blitz. That's a lot of recoil you take as a result. It is kind of a bummer to miss the Will-O-Wisp there on Amoonguss, but yeah, I'm glad I didn't like Trick Room, because then Amoonguss could just Spore me under Trick Room, and that would be a really big issue for us. So this next turn is interesting. If I were my opponent, I'd probably protect Amoonguss, but... or switch back out into Zacian. I don't mind high horsepowering out here into Mamo, or sorry, into Incin. And Will-O-Wisping the Amoonguss to cover for a Zacian switch out. Nice, they switch out. Show me Zacian. Okay, it's Suicune, that's fine. Because we get a KO onto Incineroar here, and... I got Rotom Syndrome right now. Okay, that's fine though. It's like, the Will-O-Wisp misses at least weren't on the Pokemon that we really needed. Like, yeah. Obviously, getting it is nice just for chip damage, but this is an okay start to the game, especially because the best damage they actually have into Solgaleo is probably from the best damage that they have into Solgaleo is probably from that Incineroar. It's just that Suicune is so bulky, and this is where, like, I just don't have great super effective damage for it. They know I have Will-O-Wisp, like, maybe now it's finally time to Trick Room. Honestly, I think I'm down for a high horsepower into Zacian and Trick Room here. High horsepower once again just to cover for sub Zacian. Yeah, perfect. That's exactly what I was trying to play against. Please just hit this high horsepower. Oh, they're faster? Oh, that's an issue. Okay. That changes a lot. Wow, yeah, I think them being faster... Wow, how fast is Suicune that you outspeed Mamo there? I mean, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. Mamo's base 80. But normally I would expect Suicune to not have much speed investment at all. Which is maybe just the wrong assumption. Okay. Bring out Solgaleo. With Solgaleo out, like, I think we can... So here's the thing. If you're my opponent, you could protect Zacian, switch Suicune out into Amoonguss, right? Because the thing is, I could go for a Sun Steel Strike into Will-O-Wisp to burn this Zacian. I think this turn I'm down for the Self-Shadow Sneak into Zen Headbutt. Because if they do pull the switch into Amoonguss, we kind of win. Nice. Okay. Well, I said we'd kind of win, but let's see. Okay, that's super good. If Zacian protects her, this is amazing. Beautiful. Oh, perfect. Okay, this is the one play we really had to cover for because Amoonguss just like goes too crazy with Spore otherwise. So this is the scary thing about using Zen Headbutt. Psychic Fangs is probably just the more consistent option. So if you want to edit this team slightly, I'd probably go with that just to guarantee that you hit. And it's just higher base power. But fortunately, Solgaleo connects. Okay. Yeah, like I don't think the trade-off in accuracy is worth the potential to flinch, honestly. But yeah, this puts us in a very, very good spot. The game's not over yet because we can still miss. The other question is whether or not a dub, like, how much does this +2 Zen Headbutt do into Suicune? Because the play I'm leaning towards right now is to Sunsteel Strike into Zacian and Will-O-Wisp it. Because they just protected. But the fear here is that if I miss Will-O-Wisp. Oh, they actually go for the double. Okay, that's actually a smart play, but I'm not sure they needed to. Like, now, even if I miss Will-O-Wisp, it's actually okay, although I suppose they can burn with Scald onto Zacian. I just don't think +2 Zen Headbutt's a guaranteed KO onto Suicune, so that was a risk I didn't want to take. And if we hit this Will-O-Wisp, we are in very, very good shape. Okay, they are going to Scald. It's not going to be much damage. Do they get the burn? They do. Okay. At least we hit the Will-O-Wisp, though. The burn definitely makes things trickier, but like I said, I don't think Zen Headbutt's a KO onto Suicune anyway, so I had no way really around that. We are running out of Trick Room turns now. 2 turns left. Okay, I'm fine, because Suicune can't do much damage to Solgaleo, so I'm down to just keep aggressively targeting down Zacian. Actually, do I want to switch Mimikyu out here? It's like really not doing much for us. I can go into Stack Attack to take advantage of my last turn of Trick Room, especially if Zacian protects here. Okay, I'm down for that. Burn's unfortunate, but like, there's no other play for my opponent to make there. I'm just now a little bit nervous about actually dealing enough damage to beat Suicune in this endgame. Yeah, they don't protect Zacian. Which is fine. I mean, I don't think Zacian's the one really dealing much damage here at this point. It's burnt. Okay, it's not bad damage from Sunsteel. They Scald once again into Solgaleo. That's fine. And Behemoth Blade. Yeah, that's also fine. Okay. Into Stack. I really wish I had double Trick Room right now. That'd be so sick. This is also where missing Will-O-Wisp on that Suicune now actually really hurts, unfortunately. Do you think surely Zacian protects? Is you Scald Stack is what I would do. So what I'm thinking of here is Zen Headbutt into Suicune and then switch Stack out back out into Mimikyu. Because then I can Shadow Sneak into the Zacian. And protect Solgaleo. I just don't know if I have enough damage output for Suicune now that they got that burn. Is it a double protect here? Because if not, that's incredibly risky. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So this is where if we had Trick Room on Solgaleo, we could have double Trick Room, and that would probably just win us the game, but we don't, unfortunately. Yeah, it's honestly, like, if Solgaleo weren't taking the chip damage from burn every turn, I'd also feel fine, but it is, unfortunately. Zacian just protected, so here I can protect Solgaleo and go for Sneak onto Zacian. My concern here is just not having enough late game damage now that Suicune has Scald in a stack and has burnt Solgaleo, so I'm on a timer, especially because the Suicune actually does have Protect. So, yeah. If we lose to that, so be it. Like, missing that Will-O-Wisp on Suicune really hurt as well, but maybe it's leftover, so maybe it had residual recovery. But it's funny, earlier I was like, it probably doesn't mean much, but actually ends up being a pretty big deal. If Sneak just KOs Zacian here, we're also in a really good spot, but I suspect it'll hang on with, you know, 1 tick left. Yeah. Oh, but they Sacred Sword. Oh, they read into the switch. Okay. Nice. Now that should win us the game, I think, because I will be able to Will-O-Wisp the Suicune now. But maybe they are leftovers, like I said. That's a pretty common item on Suicune. Okay. So I'm gonna Zen Headbutt here. Should I Trick Room, actually? Yeah, I think I actually like Trick Rooming more right now. Because of stack in the back. Oh, they actually end up forfeiting. Honestly, I think there was a pretty good chance Suicune could have pulled that one off. That was a really fun game. Yeah. I want to know the item on Suicune, because if it weren't leftovers, then yeah, we would have had so much residual damage built up. The Sacred Sword caught me off guard. Like, I was expecting to trade Zacian for Mimikyu there and then have an endgame of Zacian and Stack versus Suicune. And I'm not confident we win that. The question then is whether or not Scald one-shot Stack Attacker from the range that we were at. I personally wouldn't think so, but their Suicune is also speedier, so I wouldn't be surprised if it actually had more special attack investment. Yeah, so they committed to a really hard read that turn. I don't think they really needed to. But yeah, that was just really, really close. I didn't need to risk the burn onto Solgaleo, but like I said, I don't think it would KO Suicune, a +2 Zen Headbutt, so I'm actually going to pull up the calc and see, but, like, I don't know, Suicune is just such a bulky Pokemon, so let's see what that looks like. Okay, yeah, so even if Suicune has literally no bulk, the Zen Headbutt, note that the Solgaleo is not close to max attack as well, only does 71 to 84% with Zen Headbutt. So yeah, even if you're Psychic Fangs, which a bunch of you pointed out yesterday is probably the stronger option, it still wouldn't KO either. Wild Charge actually would pick up that knockout, so if you're interested in having a tech specifically to deal with Suicune, yeah, teching a Wild Charge would actually be pretty cool. It also helps you against Kyogre and Feeny and just other water types in general, so yeah. Like, I'd like Sunsteel Striking in that position, because, like, if we don't get burnt there, we should just immediately win the game, I think. Actually, I guess they had another burn chance, because that turn I went Sunsteel Strike Will-O-Wisp, they went for a double protect, and if they get the double protect as well, like, I think they actually maximize their odds really, really well in that end game, and put themselves in a position to, like, fish for multiple burns, so, yeah. I guess I could, like, Zen Headbutt Play Rough into Suicune, but there's no way that KOs, because Suicune is just so naturally bulky, right? Base 100 defense, or HP, 115 defense, and this is no bulk Suicune. If you add bulk to that, which typically is the case, we do even less damage, so... Yeah, I actually think there was a good chance Suicune could have 1v3 there in the end, but we should have seen what item it had ultimately, because that's what I'm primarily curious about. So, yeah, that was a really, really fun one, but it was definitely pretty scary. Alright, next game of the day, and ooh, another Zacian, but I feel like, yeah, Zacian comps have gotten a lot more creative with the support Pokemon. Like, there's a Salamence, Politoed, and Thundurus-T, all which I think are really cool here. This one's so tricky because, like, Mamo's so good, but it also feints to so many attacks. Low-key, this could be a potential game for Tailwind, honestly. It's just tricky because I want to bring Stack Attacka because of that Chople Berry. We can take, like, a +1 Sacred Sword from Zacian and Gyro Ball in return, which is really good. So let's say I want to go Tailwind. What would I go? Whimsicott Mamo, maybe? Or Whimsicott Mimikyu. Whimsicott's just so frail. Like, that's my issue, that I default towards trying to Trick Room more. They could lead Rillaboom Zacian, though, to deny me Trick Room, because then you can just Glide plus Behemoth Blade. Okay. Indeedee, Mamo, Solgaleo, Stack. I don't know, if I want to go Trick Room here, like, I feel like maybe I should commit to leading Indeedee just for that turn 1 follow me. I just don't feel, like, didn't feel great about Indeedee after turn 1. And, like, I think, like, Mamoswine here does apply a ton of offensive pressure, and maybe that helps us. But, I don't know. Let's see. I'm really not sure. Yeah, they go with Zacian Rillaboom. Okay. This turn 1 is so interesting, because you can just Glide and Behemoth Blade Mimikyu. You could fake out Mamo, Behemoth Blade that. I could switch Mammal out into Solgaleo and Self-Shadow Sneak to get the policy activated immediately. See, the issue here is I don't think high horsepower KOs Zacian. If I'm my opponent, I'm doubling up on Mimikyu here with Glide and Blade. I could switch into Solgaleo, but it's so risky if they actually end up doubling out into Mamoswine. Okay, I don't think I love this play, but we'll see. And the reason I don't love this is because if my opponent makes a really aggressive hard read on turn 1 and doubles up on a Mamoswine, we are in a lot of trouble. They just fake out Mamo. Okay. Did they double up onto Mamoswine? Yeah, this is the play I didn't cover for, right? Wow, okay. Nicely done. It's risky, right? Because I could just protect Trick Room turn 1. But they just make a great call there. And so this is like the risk versus reward of Pokemon, right? Like the play I make covers for pretty much every other option, and that double up feels relatively risky, but it pays off heavily for them. Now, because I have Chople and Stack Attack, I can actually just bring Stack Attack out right now instead of Trick Room, so I think it's still maybe okay, because Stack can survive like a Glide and a Sacred Sword here. But yeah, that's just a really aggressive and good play by my opponent. It's risky, but they recognize how good of a threat Mamoswine is into their team. So, I don't know. The thing is there, I could have made a middle of the ground play, which is stay in and Trick Room and high horsepower. Because then it's like, okay, if you double on Solgaleo, at least I get a high horsepower off into Zacian. But even then, it doesn't KO, and then the problem is, where do I go from there? So, I tried to make a hard read on turn 1. It didn't pay off, unfortunately. So, yeah. Nice of my opponent to find that, honestly. Okay, maybe we actually don't need Trick Room here. Also, that's the other thing I'm considering. Like, I'm considering just Sunsteel Strike Gyro Ball. Okay, they're close combating. They didn't go for a Glide there either, so it might be a Wood Hammer. Stack survives with 5, but there's obviously a pretty good chance it got doubled up into. I feel like if Rillaboom's not going for a Glide there, like, yeah, what are you going for? Okay, either way, we'll get the Sunsteel Strike into Zacian. It's good damage. They're going to U-turn. Yeah, into Stack. Well done. I guess I could read the close combat there and actually pivot out into Mimikyu, actually. But they also could have just gone Behemoth Blade. Yeah, that turn 1 was just... They identified the best lead and then played it really well. Back-to-back turns. Politoed comes out. Now, this is still definitely winnable. It's very winnable because, like, Zacian is so much of their team's offense. And I still have Disguise on the Mimikyu as well. Now, I don't think Shadow Sneak's KOing Zacian because we don't have any attack investment. The main thing I'm worried about now is getting burnt by Skull from Politoed. The other awkward thing is I don't want to set up Trick Room because this Politoed and the Rillaboom in the back are going to be slower. I wonder if 2 Shadow Sneaks KO Zacian. I just don't think so. Like, it's so weak. Is there any chance Zacian protects here? Yeah, it's just like Skull from Poly does so much damage. That's my main fear, because Zacian itself actually doesn't do much into Solgaleo, but if they Sacred Sword Mimikyu here, I'm going to Sunsteel Strike Zacian. Play Rough Poly? No, I think I needed a Trick Room there. Okay, they switch out. That's actually fine. Into Incin? Yeah, that makes sense. This is why I didn't want a Trick Room yet, but I just don't have enough damage right now, I think. Oh, Poly protects, though. Okay, so you have a free Fake Out into Solgaleo this next turn. I missed the Shadow Sneak this turn, though, right? And then I would have had Solgaleo fully boosted up, which would have been really nice. It's pretty good damage on Incin, all things considered. Solgaleo protecting here now on my end is really obvious. Mimikyu is also just not doing damage at this point in the game. There are 3 turns of rain left. Yeah, this is a really weird spot to be in because I don't want to Trick Room because everything other than that Solgaleo is slower. It was unfortunate they also had Close Combat rather than Sacred Sword, but that's pretty common on Zacians here. I'm already like behind enough in this game that I think I'm just gonna go for like the big play here and just like have them try to read into me protecting, but they do just fake out. Okay, I mean I guess it's fine actually because I will have Policy activated, so it's like if I avoid getting burned. Oh, actually, oh, they probably have Parasol and Politoed. They definitely do. That should just secure them the win if they do. Let's see. Yeah, well played. They played that really well. Turn 1, like if I do end up protecting there and I Trick Room, we're in pretty good shape going into turn 2. Because the thing is that they didn't have much damage outside of Zacian. So I should have just taken the middle of the ground play turn 1. I was just really aggressively reading into them trying to deny Trick Room. Because if they do that, I get a high horsepower off. We get Solgaleo in safely. We're in an amazing shape, honestly. But yeah, they made a fantastic call in the first turn. What else could I have done? I don't feel great about the Whimsicott option because against Fake Out, I'd feel compelled to double protect on turn 1. I could have brought NDD into this matchup, but I think Stack was correct. They just made a... I could have switched Stack Attack out that turn where I got hit by Close Combat and U-turn and would have gotten a Sunsteel Strike into Zacian. I needed to set up Trick Room. So yeah, I guess turn 1 if I were to replay, I would just go Trick Room and high horsepower. Because the Fake Out and Behemoth Blade play is also pretty aggressive because if I have NDD and I switch it in, then I get the high horsepower off into Zacian. So, yeah, like, that was a rarely high risk, high reward play that paid off for my opponent. And if I wanted something to cover for every single option, it would have been a stay in with Mimikyu. Yeah, the thing is, even if we set up Trick Room, things are pretty awkward because then Rillaboom has the priority into Mamo. But then I guess if I set up Trick Room, then what I can do is switch out Mamo turn 2 and then just burn the Rillaboom. And then once Rillaboom is burnt, you're not nearly as scary. The issue is that Mamo still gets hit by super effective damage by everything on my opponent's team. So Mamoswine is like a very, I wouldn't say coin flippy Pokemon, but it's one in which like it can be amazing or just absolutely offer nothing. And I just didn't maximize my usage of it in that game. But yeah. I did not have a safe play on turn 1, unfortunately. Like, at best, like that middle of the ground play I was talking about is that actually, at best is where I just protected Trick Room, but that's obviously really high risk on my end. So it's like, I was going to lose a substantial amount of resources one way or the other. And unfortunately got the first turn wrong, and it put us in quite a deficit. Yeah, I also, like, I wonder what the damage roll on Stack was, whether or not we had a chance of surviving the CC and the U-turn. Like, U-turn does pretty negligible damage, but yeah, Close Combat, you know, did just enough. And then like they played the first 2 turns perfectly, right? Because if you mess up there and let me get Trick Room up with Stack Attack out, I think there's maybe some comeback potential. But yeah, Zacian is just so oppressive, and that's why it's so commonly paired with these Fake Out users. And I think the Politoed, a really nice call to, 1, reduce Zacian's weaknesses, right? We see Pelipper nowadays on Zacian teams as well, but 2, to also just end the game with Perish Song, because it's exactly what my opponent did, right? You don't need to have that much damage if you could just pick up 2 quick knockouts with Zacian and then click Perish Song. So yeah, masterfully played by them, honestly. All right, third game of the day, and this is a really cool team. Kyurem-W Gothitelle, Galarian, Moltres, Abomasnow, Zapdos, Torkoal. Wow, okay. Really have no idea what we're getting ourselves into here. That's really neat. Solgaleo against Kyurem-W. That is definitely not a very common restricted matchup. Mamo is going to be very good into Zapdos and Moltres here. The main thing to consider is being locked in by Gothitelle. Right? Being locked in by Gothitelle is scary. And then Galarian Moltres can potentially set up on us. So I'm thinking we go Mimikyu Mamoswine. Maybe Mimikyu Solgaleo here is honestly fine. Stack Attack in the back, and then Mamo is the 4th. Yeah, I mean, like, there's obviously a Trick Room component to my opponent's team with the Gothitelle and the Torkoal, as well as the Abomasnow. That's just such a cool team, honestly. Like, I just really want to see what it does here. Yeah. Like, what's the lead? God plus anything is scary here. It's God plus Kyurem. I don't really know how to feel about this, because I just don't know what Kyurem wants to go for right now. You think it's faster than Solgaleo, so, like, we could Trick Room here. Honestly, contemplating just play rough and then protect turn 1. I don't want to Trick Room because they have Torkoal in the back. That Torkoal, like, especially because this stack Attacka isn't min speed. So min speed Torkoal would just outspeed us under Trick Room. Okay, they Helping Hand. I mean, I don't love that, right? Because, like, they're probably just going to go for the same play next turn, and I assume they're going for something like in one-shot Solgaleo. Yeah, it's Fusion Flare. Oh, boy. Oh, play rough's a 2-hit KO on Kyurem, though. Okay. Honestly, if there's any time to go for a double protect, I feel like it's right now. If I don't get it, it's fine. I trade Kyurem for Solgaleo, but if I get it, we probably just win the game. I shouldn't have led Solgaleo, though. I got baited. Yeah, so they go for Helping Hand again. I would assume Fusion Flare one-shots. Okay, we don't get it. Honestly, yeah, I mean, if it doesn't one-shot, then it's totally worth it to just attack. But with Helping Hand, I mean, this is Kyurem we're talking about. Let's see. Yeah, that's enough. So it was like, that was an opportunity where, like, if we get the double, we just straight up are in such an amazing position. And if not, then, like I said, yeah, we just trade Restricteds. So I don't know, I could have Protect Trick Room turn 1. It was mainly just not expecting Helping Hand from Gothitelle, right? I'm going to bring out Stack Attacker right now. They'd probably bring out Torkoal if I had to guess. Mamo's pretty good in the late game, but... Oh, they bring out Abomasnow. Okay, that works for me. That is very okay with me. Got Rock Slide. Like, I think I just want to Shadow Sneak into Gothitelle and Rock Slide right now. Because I think Stack is in a really good offensive position. It's just another Helping Hand. Okay. Does Abomasnow get, like, Earth Power now or something? Because if so, that would be really bad. Or is it just Blizzarding? Bruh. Oh, it actually does. I haven't seen Abomasnow in so long that I didn't think we were at risk. That's gonna win them the game, I think. Wow, you could see the power of Gothitelle trapping in, right? Okay, I guess maybe there's a chance we can KO Abomasnow with Play Rough and Ice Cold Crash. We could also flinch. But that was obviously really bad. If I brought Mamoswine out first, they probably would have been baited into setting up Trick Room, and then that would have been pretty good for us. I actually think maybe we get the KO here. Let's see. Because, like, I don't have any attack investment on Mimikyu, whereas Mamo has a lot. It does survive, though. Okay. Hypnosis. Oh. We get a dodge and a flinch, though. Okay, that actually is the one thing that keeps us in this game. I mean, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. Like, I'm guessing Abomasnow was going for Grass Knot there, so it's more the flinch that we needed. Or, sorry, the dodge that we needed, in my opinion. Because now I can actually Shadow Sneak Gothitelle and High Horsepower it. And Abomasnow maybe brings me down to my Focus Sash, but that's okay. See, I feel like if they had Trick Room there, they probably just immediately win. Okay, they're not Citrus, and we connect on High Horsepower. That was obviously an absurdly lucky turn, though, right? But I think, like, yeah. Let's see, Abomasnow was probably Grass Knot. Okay, they just Blizzard. Yeah, that's also fine. It does break the Disguise, though, but, like, I think if they had just clicked Trick Room, maybe they wanted to, like, cover for me Trick Rooming that turn, though. And it's like, if you hit the Hypnosis, then the game, I think, is definitely over. So it's like a 60% chance to win the game immediately, which, honestly, those are pretty good odds to, like, seal the game. Yeah, it's Torkoal. Like, High Horsepower doesn't KO Torkoal, that's for sure. And I don't think Shadow Sneak High Horsepower does it either. I mean, the play I'm leaning towards is just sneaking Abomasnow here and high horsepower into Torkoal, because like there's a chance Torkoal protects. Abomasnow protecting would be a very good play here. Yeah, the Kyurem white lead with that, it was mainly the helping hand that I didn't cover well enough for. If they're Charcoal Heat Wave here, they should just win the game. But my lead wasn't good, even though I was even saying like respect Gothitelle, respect Gothitelle. It's really good damage from high horsepower, but not enough. Oh, and they're buried. Okay, then they definitely win unless they miss a Heat Wave here on Mamoswine. Burning Jealousy. I mean, that KOs, I would assume. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, in the end, it was them having the berry as well. Really cool team. Great use of Kyurem White, honestly. I wonder if it's Choice Scarf as well. Like, that's one of my other questions. Yeah, I'm just gonna sneak here, but don't think we can KO the Torkoal. Unless their only offensive attack is Burning Jealousy, but Sneak just does no damage right now, yeah. I mean, Solgaleo was just so good in this matchup, but there's the trap plus the helping hand. I wonder if that's a guaranteed KO. I'm not sure. I could have Trick Room turn 1. Like, what I could have done was Trick Room turn 1, and then Sunsteel Strike Trick Room again turn 2 to reverse the Trick Room. That's probably the play. I am very curious about their team. Citrus, yeah, max defense. Or not max defense, close to. Scarf Kyurem, yep. Goggle, Zapdos. They didn't even have Trick Room on Gothitelle. That's fascinating. AV Abomasnow. Yeah, I didn't know about Earth Power. Because if I had just brought Mamoswine out initially, then I could have just doubled up. Like, Stack would do pretty well in the late game. Especially because they didn't have Earth Power on Torkoal here. But I got wrecked by Earth Power Abomasnow. So, good to learn that. Like, I mentioned it because I feel like I thought I had seen it as, like, a new move that it got. Because it definitely didn't have that way back in the day. But Abomasnow is just so rare in this format. It's really cool too, because you can use Weather Ball here with the Zapdos off Hail to one-shot Landorus. So this team is just awesome, honestly. Yeah, a lot of cool surprises. Yeah, them being the plus defense Torkoal in the end hurt us too, right? Because if you were like regular, just max special attack, then high horsepower into Sneak should just KO. So, but we were only in the game to begin with because we had that lucky dodge, right? Although I do think if we actually end up just, we did get the double protect, we'd probably actually just win the game. But the thing is, like, I let myself, I mean, I just didn't expect helping hand plus the trap because, yeah, with Fusion Flare. That's really, really cool. Okay, I'll play one more though because I want to win one more. All right, last one of the day, and it's up against very standard Groudon Entei stuff. Okay, so it's just Sun. This is where Whimsicott is huge with that Life Orb Moonblast. So I think I want Whimsicott, Mamoswine, Solgaleo, and Mimikyu. Oh, actually, maybe Stack. This is a Wide Guard. But then it's like I can't get the policy activated on Solgaleo. Could also be NDD. Okay, I'm gonna bring Stack, because Stack's really good under Trick Room with Rock Slide. I guess the one thing to consider, though, is that, like, I'm leading Whimsicott, so, like, how often am I actually setting up Trick Room with Stack Attacka, given the lack of redirection? Probably not very frequently. But I just like it because it walls, not walls, but it's pretty good into Instant Zapdos P2 and the Entei. So, we'll see. Yeah, I got rocked by Abomasnow that last game. That was a really, really cool team. I'm gonna go with Incineroar and Entei. Okay. Not bad for Mammal. I mean, like, double protect turn 1 into just, like, Tailwind high horsepower turn 2 is what I'm leaning towards. I'm really curious how bulky the Mamoswine is. Or, sorry, the Entei is. Like, whether or not you survive high horsepower. That is not what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I don't want to take any unnecessary risks here on turn 1, so I think I will just double. Double and then Tailwind high horsepower and Entei turn 2 and then go from there. This is my concern with Whimsicott, right? Like, it's just so frail. It'll faint to any fire type attack from my opponent's team without the Sash, but you really need Sash on Mamoswine. It's just too good to not run on Mammal, right? So let's see. Oh, they switch out into Groudon maybe? Oh, Venusaur. That's actually really interesting. Okay. Man, I could have tailed high horsepower, but the switch also makes sense because you generally want to respect my potential switch into Indeedee. Sacred Fire. Yeah. Okay. Venusaur is not really a threat to Solgaleo, so I think it's fine to just Tailwind and high horsepower in this position because we have the Focus Sash on Mamoswine. So even if Venusaur goes for a Grass type attack on a Mamo, it's fine. It's a relatively free high horsepower too, because Groudon should be my opponent's last one, so it's guaranteed super effective damage into Entei or Insane, or chip damage onto the Groudon. And honestly, chip damage is pretty good here, because then a Grass Knot will certainly KO. I could also go for an Ice type attack onto Venusaur, but I don't want to risk that right now, because that can pivot out back into Groudon. Or sorry, not Groudon, Incineroar. And I would just completely waste attack, whereas, and then Entei just gets a Sacred Fire into us. Yeah, they switch out Entei, but that's fine, right? Like, I'm sure it's Groudon coming in now. Yep. I'm fine with it playing out this way, because then next turn I can just Ice Cold Crash Venu and Grass Knot Groudon. Okay, Venu protects. Perfect. Nice, nice. Yeah, this is where I think they don't expect the Grass Knot. My only fear now, I guess, is Sash on the Venusaur. But we hit high horsepower, which is good. Nice. Yep, so let's just Grass Knot Groudon here. And Ice Cold Crash into Venusaur. Question is how fast Venu is, because we're max speed Mamo, but Venu's base speed is slightly higher, I think, right? Which is fine, but it means it could Sludge Bomb the Whimsicott. Groudon could also protect here, so there was the potential for me to double up onto Venusaur, but without knowing how fast Venusaur is in this position, I like splitting my damage. Especially because Venusaur just committed to protect. But there was the opportunity to actually... Okay, they actually switch out Venu. That's fine by me, especially if Groudon's just attacking here. But maybe they're just... protecting Groudon. But the thing is, you can, cycle in and out all you want, but then the thing is, this next turn I just double protect and I can just Grass Knot. They do protect, okay. So they are really cycling through right now, but that's fine. Because like we haven't taken any damage yet. The only problem is now I've revealed the Grass Knot tech, which obviously isn't great. That's actually a pretty bad miss, because if we hit there, it's guaranteed KO from high horsepower, I think. So that's a little bit unfortunate. If I'm my opponent, I'm probably pivoting the Groudon out now. Clicking Fake Out into Mamoswine or Flare Blitz. Two turns of Tailwind. I guess you could also like expect to survive Ice Skull Crash and then just Fake Out. Yeah, we still have another turn of Tailwind. I'm down to double protect this next turn. Like, we're slowly just chipping away at things. Yeah, Groudon switched. Into Entei, yep. This is where that miss earlier does hurt, though. That's okay, though. Could have played better around all of these switches that they're making, and I realistically didn't do a great job. Actually went for Snarl, that's interesting. So they did Fake Out, meaning Moonblast high horsepower there is probably a game-winning play. The thing is, I kind of feel compelled to get another Tailwind up in this game. We still have Solgaleo in the back. Like, I think here I'm down to Moonblast the Entei and high horsepower it. Okay, they finally stay in. If I'm my opponent, by the way, in this position, I'm going for a double fire type attack onto Whimsicott to guarantee the knockout onto that. High horsepower connects, that's good. Entei is such a nuisance here, so getting that out of the way is good. Okay. Yeah, there's Flare Blitz. Presumably into Whimsicott. Oh, they target Mamoswine. That's really good for us, because now it means I get a second Tailwind up in this game. Cool. Yeah, that's really key. Because now I can literally just Tailwind and high horsepower into Incineroar at literally no risk. And actually, if you bring on Groudon, I can just Grass Knot, so I think you have to bring on Venu right now. But Mamoswine was just so good into this team. This is what I mean, right? Like, Mamoswine's something like you can either get so much mileage out of or 0 mileage out of. It's really interesting how it can be, so much of one or the other. One or the other, not one or the other. Yeah, okay. We're gonna Tailwind and just high horsepower here. Because I can see Venu protecting. If they protect Venu as I KO Instant, it's game over. So let's see. Even if they don't protect Venusaur, it's fine. Oh, wait, unless Venu actually does outspeed Mamo. Wait, I totally just didn't think about that. If you're timid Venu here, you will outspeed. Okay, they're not. At least I think if they're timid, they outspeed. I'm not 100% sure about that. They time their Sun well, so they'll get Sun up again. But the thing is, now we know Mamo's faster. You go for Earth Power. Cool. Which means now I can just bring out the Zacian. Not Zacian. Solgaleo. I can bring out Solgaleo, and then I think I'll just double Protect to scout out a Protect from either Pokemon, and then just Zen Headbutt Grass Knot. The only fear is if they like have Sub on Groudon and then go for Sub here. That would be a very strong play. Now I'm kind of regretting bringing Stack Attack up, but I think I needed to cover for their Porygon option. But I guess, like, how often do they bring Porygon into this matchup, right? Yeah, I'm just double protecting here. So Venu is Earth Power and Protect. You would think Sludge Bomb and a Grass type attacks would probably no Sleep Powder. That's my guess. Yeah, the only problem here is if, like, neither Pokemon protect this turn. Or if Groudon subs. If even one protects, then we can just double up into that slot with pretty good confidence the next turn. So let's see. Neither protected. Okay. They actually do have Sleep Powder. Wow. The other thing here is that Venu actually might outspeed Solgaleo. That's one thing I didn't consider. But it's fine because then you definitely don't have Sludge Bomb, right? So you can't hit Whimsicott actually. So I'm just going to Grass Knot then and Zen Headbutt. That's my guess here. They played last turn well, though. They didn't go for Protect on either. Yeah, Groudon now protects, but it's fine unless the Venusaur actually has Sludge Bomb and it doesn't have a Grass-type attack. And it's Focus Sashed here. No, they just Earth Power, okay. That's interesting, because, yeah, like, you know, when you see Venusaur in the previous formats, it's almost always, like... Oh, not almost always. Like, you run a combination of Leaf Storm / Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb. You run Grass Knot as well. Earth Power, Protect... And they weren't Focus Sashed either. Okay, that's really interesting. Maybe it was Wide Lens Sleep Powder then? So it's like a Grass type attack. Yeah, this is where Life Orb Grass Knot is huge. So I'm glad we get to play with the Whimsicott a little bit more because it is a really cool Pokemon on this team. But you just had to bring it into the right matchups. And like those Zacian matchups were certainly not it. But that Life Orb Grass Knot's so strong. And so, yeah, my opponent, you know, did a good job dancing around. And I think if they had actually KO'd Whimsicott, that turn they Flare Blitzed, they would have had a better shot, but I can understand why they were probably feeling the pressure from Mamo, because Mamo legitimately could, like, 1v4 their team, right? It hit everything for super effective damage. So, yeah. That was definitely a fun set of games. Like, both of those losses, you know, game 2, I just got really outplayed on turn 1, and I shouldn't have tried to make such an aggressive prediction. And then in game 3, yeah, I just got completely caught off guard by my opponent's team, and that's definitely one of the coolest teams I've seen in Series 10 so far, so kudos to them. But fun set of games. That first one was really intense, and then this one, you know, we were able to just really highlight how strong Mamoswine can be. So, yeah. Thanks so much, as always, for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all soon. All right. Peace.